If you're looking for something hearty and delicious, then look no further, because tonight, cooking with Tammy's beef and cabbage stew is going to be all you need. With that being said, let's get to cooking. First on up, my loves, we have our beef chuck right here. When it comes to beef chuck, right, it's one of the best cuts of meat when it comes down to slow cooking, simply because the longer you cook it, is the more fork tender it becomes. I'm going to cut it up in chunky bite-sized bits, however, right, because we're stewing it. However, if you want to cut it into smaller portion sizes, you definitely can. When it comes to beef chuck, you don't have to worry about cutting it against the grain, like for instance, as if you're cutting a skirt steak. As you can see, right, all of the grains are going this way, then obviously you're going to cut it in the opposite direction. We don't need to do that. Chunky bits, and that's it. Simply because once we start to cook it for quite some time, like about 2 to 3 hours, right, or until it's absolutely fork tender, it's not going to matter, because this beef is going to be shreddable at that point in time. Our meat is cubed up in almost the same sizes, and it's really important because you want all of the meat to cook around the same time frame, right? You don't want to have that small little piece of meat and that big old chunky bit, and the chunky bit is taking forever to cook. You get what I'm saying? But anyway, we're going to add some oil to start this party off. Okay, and we're going to season with some really good seasonings to bring out the best flavors in our meat. We're going to start off with some garlic powder. All right, for a nice garlicky flavor. We're also going to add some onion powder. Alrighty. Smoked paprika. Let's bring on the smoke. After all, this is a country dish, right? So you want to have that nice little smoky flavor going on. We're going to add some of my all-purpose Cooking with Tammy seasoning, of course. All-purpose and great on everything. All right, going to add a good amount. We're also going to add some of our Creole seasoning as well. As you can see, the Creole seasoning is starting to change the color of things already, just like the smoked paprika. We're also going to add some fresh, well, it's not fresh thyme. You see it in the bottle. We're going to add some dried thyme. I'm so programmed to saying fresh thyme. I don't have fresh today, so we're just going to rock out with the dried. And what else are we missing? Let's add a little bit of salt. Not too much. With the salt, you can always go back and add that to the pot if necessary. We're going to add some ground black pepper. Come on, ground black pepper. Alrighty. That should be perfect. And to take things up a couple notches, let's add some beef bouillon. Alright. The beef is going to really beef this beef on up, and it's going to give it some nice flavors. A little bit more oil because I want to be able to spread the seasoning onto the meat without any problem. All right, we're just going to combine everything together. In the meanwhile, right, we're going to get our heavy duty skillet if you have. But for me, I'm going to use my heavy duty cast iron skillet. And we are going to heat that bad boy up, and we're going to sear our meat until it's brown and caramelized. So make sure you get that pan ready, and let's get it hot and ready to go, just the way we like it. All right, we're going to add some oil to our pot. All right, add a good amount. I'm going to start off with adding about half of the beef chunks, or as much as the pot could hold. We want to get a nice sear on the beef, so we're not going to overcrowd it. If we have to sear it in 2 batches, no problem. All right, we're going to allow it to brown on the first side for, I want to say, maybe about 4 minutes, and it also depends on how hot or how much heat you're cooking with. But nevertheless, once it starts to brown and get nice and caramelized, we're going to flip it on over, brown it on each side. Once we're done, we're going to obviously reserve it in a plate or a bowl, and then we're going to sear up the other pieces of meat as well. This is after about 1.5 minutes. Look at how beautifully brown. Oh my goodness. We have like the perfect coating on our meat right now. This is why it's really important that when you're cooking and you're searing off anything, turn that flame up. Allow the pan or the pot or whatever it is that you're using to become extremely hot. It's going to give you that perfect sear. All right, let's make sure we remove all of the beef chunks from the pan. All right, and as you can see, we have all of this gorgeousness going on at the bottom of the cast iron skillet. And when I tell you this is going to be nothing but awesome flavor, we're going to add some onions to this mix. All right, let's get these onions into the pot, of course. I have a good amount of onions today, just like I do every day, because we love onions around here. You know what I'm saying? We love our veggies. Veggies are good for you. If the only time you love veggies is when it's incorporated or cooked down in the stew, then make stews more often, because it's really good for you. All right, we're gonna allow our onions to become intertwined with all of the bits at the bottom. All right, look at our onions picking up all of that beautiful flavor. Move over onions. Time for our bell peppers. Holy Trinity time. All right, got the green and the red on deck. We're gonna add our celery as well. And let's coat all of the veggies. As you can see, the bottom is deglazed. All right, and we have all of those beautiful flavors hugging onto our veggies. We're gonna cook our veggies down for about 30 more seconds. We want them to become slightly softened, but not too soft and mushy. All right, garlic goes in. All right, today we're rocking out with the fresh garlic, no jarred garlic today. Let's cook the garlic for about 30 seconds until it becomes fragrant. All right, let's make room because we are gonna add a couple tablespoons of tomato paste. All right, we're gonna allow the tomato paste to cook for about a minute or so, or until the tomato paste color deepens, right? You want the tomato paste to be nice and rich in color before you incorporate it with the veggies. We're gonna add a couple more things, starting with the Worcestershire sauce. Add a couple tablespoons. The Worcestershire is gonna offer great contrasting flavors. All right, it's gonna work alongside everything that we've already added. At this point in time, let's reintroduce the beef back to the pot. Fold the veggies into the beef. All right, this is looking like a stir-fried situation almost, right? Rich and beautiful in color and consistency. All right, let's get those veggies from the bottom of the pan, bring it to the top, allow it to sit on top of the veggies. All right, let's go in with some beef broth. However, this is beef bouillon and water, majority water, okay, because beef bouillon is very salty. So you don't want to add too much beef bouillon. However, if you have beef broth on hand, whether it be regular beef broth or reduced beef broth, reduced sodium rather, you could definitely use that. But like I said before in many videos, I don't really keep stocks and broths on hand simply because I don't use it in a timely fashion. Let's go ahead and add our bay leaves to the mix. All right, give it a good stir and make sure everything is submerged. And we're gonna add some more things later to our pot, but nevertheless, right, what we are gonna do at this point in time is we're gonna cover it down and we're gonna allow it to cook for about 2 hours or until the beef is tender. Now, here's the thing. We still need to add some things during the last 20 minutes of the cooking process. But anyway, I'm gonna show you how to put this beautiful dish together, so continue watching. Big reveal, our beef looks amazing, not to mention the aroma. Woo, it smells good. I did check on it a couple times to make sure that there was enough water inside of the pot. We didn't want it to dry out, because if it did dry out, then of course, if your beef is not as tender as you would like it to be, you would need to add some more water. But for now, we're gonna add our veggies, okay? We're gonna add some carrots and we're also gonna add our potatoes. For this recipe, I'm gonna be using yellow potatoes. However, feel free to use white potatoes, russet potatoes, either or. And at this point in time, we're just gonna allow the carrots to soften up and the potatoes to cook down, which should take about 20 minutes. I'm gonna cook it on low heat because everything in here is already hot. All right, so far it's been about 20 to 25 minutes later. And check it on out. This is gorgeous. All right, now at this point in time, we're gonna lower the flame even more and we're gonna introduce our cabbage. Okay, we're gonna introduce our cabbage to the pot. Add as much or as little cabbage as you want to add, all right? Don't allow the measurements to get in the way. If you like a lot of cabbage, add a lot of cabbage. All right, we're gonna fold the cabbage into the stew. The good thing about cabbage is the majority of the cabbage makeup is water. So by the time the steam hits the cabbage, it's going to break down. And you know how it goes when it comes to cabbage. We're going to allow the cabbage to steam in the gravy for about 5 to 10 minutes. Or who knows, even less, right? Once it breaks down to your liking is when you're going to stop the cooking process. I think the perfect side dish would be our honey delicious sweet cornbread. We have a bowl with equal parts flour and cornmeal, right? The cornmeal that I like to use in order to get the best cornbread, right, when it comes down to the texture, nice, moist, and soft, and all of that cool stuff, is refined cornmeal. To that, we're gonna add some granulated sugar, a pinch of salt to balance out the sugar as well. We're also going to add some baking powder and baking soda. All right. We're going to get our bouillon whisk and we're going to combine all of our dry ingredients together. Make sure you combine it really good. Takes about, 2 seconds on the clock? 1, 2. And once you're done, you put it to the side. All right. Just comb through it. Make sure you have everything combined. All right. That's it. We're going to put that to the side. And we're going to bring in our ingredients for our wet ingredients. To this bowl, we're going to add 2 eggs minus the shell, of course. With my luck, I'll be fishing eggshells out of the eggs. We're also going to add some buttermilk. That's about a cup of buttermilk. And we're also going to add some melted butter. All right. Let's add some vanilla extract. Let's get some of this good stuff in there. It's going to make it smell awesome. Let's also add some honey to the mix. Add the honey. Let's go. Good amount of honey. Not too much, however. All right. Combine everything really well. Make sure we break down those eggs at the bottom of the bowl. All right. Once everything is smooth and creamy, we could bring back in our dry ingredients. And we're going to combine our dry with our wet ingredients. All right. Really quick, really easy, simple recipe. Gonna stir it on up really good. Make sure everything is perfectly combined. And in a matter of seconds, we're done. That's it. Nothing crazy. We're gonna get our, for this particular one, I'm gonna try to locate the loaf pan, or if not the loaf pan, a regular size baking pan. Sometimes you put those things up and it's like when it's time to find it or use it, you're like, wait a minute, where is it again? So you just pull for the most convenient thing. And sometimes, believe it or not, that's your everyday pan. All right, this is good. Everything at the bottom feels nice and smooth. I'm gonna go locate that pan and get to baking. To a grease pan, all right? Whatever, it doesn't matter if you use a cast iron skillet, baking, not baking sheet, but baking pan or muffin tins. Grease it really good first. Add our cornbread batter and we're going to place it into our preheated 400-degree Fahrenheit oven. That's 200 degrees Celsius for about 15 to 18 minutes or until the cornbread is perfectly baked. Get all of the little air bubbles out of it and we're going to place it into our oven. All right, family, it's time to eat. All right, dinner time is ready. Check out the rice, perfectly cooked. Look at our stew, right? Our cabbage and beef stew. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to taste it. We're going to place it right here on top of the rice. We have gravy going on. We have everything going on in this pot. Don't forget to remove the bay leaves before serving. All right. We also have our beautifully, moist cornbread. Okay, the cornbread has just finished baking. All right, check it out. Nice and moist and beautiful. Gonna place it right here. Ooh. Now this is a plate. All right, I know you guys want some, so I'm gonna give you the first taste. All right, let's go. Make sure you have room and board for me, please. Magic. This is magical. If it's one thing, right? Cabbage picks up flavors very easily. So all of the beautiful gravy flavored deliciousness is literally soaked up into the cabbage. This is one of those bowls that you can't mess around and just give it to anybody, right? You got to make sure you give it to somebody you really care about because this is absolutely delicious. Now, I don't know where you're watching me from, right? But I know where I'm at. It's not cold yet, but this would make the perfect fall and winter bowl. Oh my goodness, don't get me wrong. Try it out while it's still warm as well. But when I tell you the flavors are so magical, everything ties together perfectly. It's just this delicious country flavor that you, oh my goodness, with every bite. A lot of this magic cannot happen if you don't have your Cooking with Tammy seasonings. I'm not going to get up here and lie to you. Get your Cooking with Tammy seasonings. Give it a try. Try one seasoning, try two, or try all 9 plus brine. And I can guarantee you're going to fall in love. These are going to be your new kitchen staples. I can guarantee you that much. And the great thing, as I said before, if you're not like a major cook, if you're not a professional cook and you're a novice chef, let the seasoning do the work, please, especially during the holidays while the holiday season is approaching. Give this recipe a try. Let me know what you think. And as always, I will catch you guys in another video. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.